what's up y'all, it's Charlie. Today I'm going to be showing y'all how to make my homemade vanilla glazed donuts. Now a donut is any type of dough that has been living with yeast and fried. Simple as that. Now donuts come in all different types of flavors, colors, shapes, and sizes. There's all different types of glazes, toppings that you can put on a donut. Man, I done seen people go as far as putting Captain Crunch and Fruity Pebbles cereal on top of a donut. I mean, people can get very creative with this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Now, in my opinion, the most common and the most popular donut is the standard vanilla glazed donut with the vanilla glaze on top. Simple. Now, this recipe calls for you to make about 12 or more donuts depending on the size of your donut cutter and the thickness of the dough once you roll it out. Not only are these donuts soft, they're really flavorful, with a touch of just a little touch of Louisiana in there, and it is delicious. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, here's all what you'll need to make your homemade vanilla glazed donuts. Let's get started. You will need some bread flour or all-purpose flour, whichever one you prefer. And along with that, you will need some sugar, salt, instant yeast, whole milk at room temperature, eggs at room temperature, salted or unsalted butter, whichever one you prefer. And for your flavorings, you will need some vanilla extract, butter extract, almond extract, and cake batter extract. If you can't find the cake batter extract, you can completely omit it from the recipe, alright? And along with that, you will need some confectioner sugar and some canola oil. Now you can use one full 48 fluid ounce bottle of canola oil for this recipe, but for me I'm going to use two, alright, just to be on the safe side. And for your tools, you will need some parchment paper, a rolling pin, a cooling rack, and a donut cutter. I'm going to have the link to where you can purchase this in the description box. And there we have it. Alright, let's get straight to it. In our stand mixer bowl, we're going to add 3 2/3 cups of bread flour or all-purpose flour. And to that, we're going to add 1/4 cup of sugar, 2 to 3 teaspoons of instant yeast, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Now I'm going to take my spoon and I'm just going to give this a quick stir. Want to make sure you stir this really good to make sure all those dry ingredients are incorporated. Alright, now let's get started with our wet ingredients. In a medium-sized bowl, we're going to add 1 1/4 cups of warm whole milk. Temperature should be about 120 degrees Fahrenheit. And to that, we're going to add 1 stick of melted unsalted butter. And to that, we're going to add 2 large eggs at room temperature, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 2 teaspoons of butter extract, and this is optional, 2 teaspoons of cake batter extract. That's going to give our donuts a wonderful flavor. Now I'm going to take my whisk and I'm just going to stir all these ingredients together until combined. You can also add 1/4 teaspoon of almond extract to this too if you want to add a little bit of almond. Alright. Now with our stand mixer fitted with the dough hook attachment, we're going to add the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients. Now you want to just add that in there all at once. Alright. It's looking pretty good. Now we're going to go ahead and mix this on a medium-low speed or according to your stand mixer's instructions on mixing doughs for about 8 to 10 minutes. Look at that dough, it looks pretty good. Alright, now as you can see the dough doesn't stick to my hands. That lets me know that it is ready. Alright. Now we're going to go ahead and lightly flour the surface of our table. Just very light, not too much. Now we're going to add the dough on top of the table. I don't know why, but back then it was so easy for me to do this. Now it's so difficult now. But I got it on top of the table. There we go. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and knead this dough for 1 minute. We're just going to continuously knead it for 1 minute. Just make sure it's all combined and ready to go. Alright. And the dough is really soft. Man, that bread flour surely works wonders, I tell you. Now at this time we're going to form it into a ball. Just as you see here. I'm going to put a little flour underneath there. There we go. Now we're going to let the dough rest for about 20 to 30 minutes. Now in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and take some scissors and we're going to cut the parchment paper into 4 by 4 inch squares. So that's 4 inches long and 4 inches wide. And once we cut out our donuts, we're going to place the dough onto this parchment paper here. Alright, and this is how it looks when we're done. Look at that. Got a lot of parchment paper here. It's about 12 altogether. Alright, it's been about 20 minutes now. We're going to go ahead and take our hands and we're just going to press the dough down. This is going to release the gases that's caused by the yeast. Make sure you get all those air bubbles out of there. Now while we're at it, we're going to form this into a small rectangle. Now we're going to take our rolling pin and we're going to roll the dough out into a 13-inch long by 10-inch wide rectangle. Make sure you add some flour onto the dough too, and make sure you flip it on the other side too, and just smoothen it out with the rolling pin as well. Alright, now the dough thickness should be between 1/4 and 1/2 inch thickness. Alright, the thickness of the dough here is about 1/2 inch. The less thick the dough is and the less in diameter the donut cutter is, the more donuts you'll be able to make. Alright, here we have our donut cutter. It's 3.5 inches in diameter. Now we're going to go ahead and take the donut cutter and we're just going to cut out the dough. I'm just going to go all around with this. Do it the best way you can. And as you can see, that dough is already rising. That yeast is doing a wonderful job so far. And this is how it looks when we're done. Exactly what we're looking for. Now for those leftover pieces of dough, I'm just going to go ahead and knead that a couple of times. I'm going to add a little lightly flour to the surface of the table, and I'm going to just knead that a couple of times just to bring it all together. And now we're just going to pat this down until it has a thickness of about 1/4 to 1/2 inch. Alright, I'm going about 1/2 inch here. Now I'm going to take my donut cutter and I'm just going to cut out the dough. And I'm still going to have a little bit of dough left over, but that's alright. I'm going to make 2 more, and that's going to be 12 pieces of dough all together. And this is how it looks when we're done. It's pretty thick. Now we're going to go ahead and take our pieces of dough and we're going to place that onto our parchment paper and place that onto our baking pan. Now you want to make sure you space the pieces of dough out so that way they won't touch during the rising process. Now we're going to go ahead and cover these with a towel, and we're going to let these rise in a warm spot for 1 hour and 15 minutes. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and preheat our fire to medium-high heat. Alright, in a large saucepan, you want to make sure you have plenty of room now. We're going to add 48 fluid ounces of canola oil. Now I admit, once I get finished from pouring this whole bottle in here, I'm going to add half of the second bottle. Alright, so I'm using almost 2 bottles here because I don't like my donuts to fry too close to the bottom of the pan. Alright. Now if you have a deep fryer, preheat it to 360 degrees and you'll be good to go. Now we're going to let this oil get hot for about 20 minutes or until the temperature of the oil reaches 360 degrees Fahrenheit. If the temperature of the oil is too low, what's going to happen is that dough is going to absorb the oil and you're going to have a very greasy donut, and we don't want that. Alright. Now here we have our cooling rack with our baking pan underneath it. You want to have that ready before we begin frying our donuts. Alright, it's been about 1 hour and 15 minutes, and as you can see, our donuts have risen perfectly. This is exactly what we're looking for. Now let's get started with frying our donuts. We're going to get started by taking our spatula and we're just going to go underneath the parchment paper. Now we're going to take the dough and we're just going to add the parchment paper into the hot oil, and from there the dough should be able to slide right into the hot oil. If it doesn't slide, you can just flip it over. You can fry up to about 2 or 3 of these at a time. Now to tell if the donut's ready to be flipped over, if you take your fork and you can lift it up and you can see on the edge of the dough that it's a light golden brown, you just flip your dough over. Now you're going to let these fry for about 30 seconds to 1 minute on each side, so that's about 1 to 2 minutes total. And if your donut browns too much on the bottom, you could just turn your fryer down slightly. Alright. Now our donuts are done. Nice golden brown on all sides. Now we're going to take our donuts and we're going to place them onto our cooling rack. Now we're going to let these cool for about 15 minutes or until they're warm. Now while we're doing that, let's get started on our glaze. In a medium-sized bowl, we're going to add 1 1/2 cups of confectioner sugar. And to that, we're going to add 4 tablespoons of melted unsalted butter, 4 tablespoons of warm whole milk, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, a half a teaspoon of butter extract, and 1/8 to 1/4 teaspoon of almond extract. Make sure you get that in there. Alright. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my whisk, and I'm just going to stir this until this mixture is creamy and smooth with no visible lumps. Alright, and this is how it looks when we're done. As you can see, our mixture is creamy and smooth with no visible lumps. Alright. Now we're going to go ahead and place this into our microwave on high for about 30 seconds. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and give it one last final stir. As you can see, it's a little bit thinner than usual. That's exactly what we're looking for. Alright. Now our icing is ready. Now we're going to go ahead and take our donuts, and we're going to add them from the top portion first into the icing. You want to make sure you move it around in the icing and everything. Make sure the whole donut is coated. Now we're just going to shake that donut to remove some of that icing off there. And from there, you're going to transfer it back onto your cooling rack. Now you're going to let the icing set. It should take about 10 to 15 minutes total, and you should be able to glaze about 12 donuts all together. As you can see here, that's the other 4 that I did. Now to store your donuts, I'm placing mine into a large plastic bag. You can also place them into an airtight container or a freezer bag. You can also individually wrap them with plastic wrap or aluminum foil. They'll last about 3 to 4 days in your refrigerator or 3 months in your freezer. To be honest, I don't think none of y'all gonna do this. Just like cold fries, nobody likes day old or months old donuts, okay? I'm just saying. Alright. Now here is the final presentation. And as you can see, here's the cross section. As you can see, that's nice and fluffy. It doesn't have any oil buildup and anything like that. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, homemade vanilla glazed donuts, made from scratch by a New Orleans native. If you like my channel, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell button if you want to be notified of my videos. You can also check out this recipe, as well as all of my other recipes. Visit www.charliethecookandrews.com. You can also find me on Facebook and on Instagram under the name Charlie the Cook Andrews. Stay tuned as Charlie's Taste Test is coming up next. Can't wait. Now it's time to go ahead and take a bite. Oh man, I love donuts. Now here's the cross section here. I mean, look at that. Look at how soft that is. Look at that. Say, bro, when I tell y'all no lie. This donut is so good. I mean, it actually tastes like the donuts that you get like from the donut place. Really, it's really, really good. It's really soft, moist. It's on point, bro. On point. It is good. And then glaze too, with that little touch of almond in there. That's what I say about Louisiana. See, us Louisiana people, we like to put almond in our stuff. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. But give the recipe a try. I hope you all enjoyed the video. And until next time, have a good one. Peace. Man, look at that. So good. Yeah, yeah. So good.